Meeting's called to order at 6:42 p.m. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Utility Board public meeting for the town of Cedar Lake, May 2023. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan.
Here.
Julie Rivera. Here. Ralph Miller.
Present.
Colleen Sheehan. Here. John Foreman.
Present.
Richard Sharp.
Here.
Nick Cupido.
Here.
Jennifer Sandberg is absent. Chris Salata.
Present.
David Austin.
Present.
And I'm Margot Nagy, sitting in for Ms. Sandberg.
Thank you, Margo. New business, item number 1, approval of the minutes from April 27th, 2023.
I would like to make a motion and amend the minutes. The minutes that were circulated indicated Ward 3 present, Jennifer Sandberg, and not Nick Recupido. And I called Margo, and Margo is going to make the changes, but I officially want everybody to know the copy you received listed that, and I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with that correction.
Thank you, Bob.
Second.
A motion to amend the minutes, as Mr. Carnahan stated, and approve them. Made by Mr. Carnahan, seconded by Mr. Foreman. Discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
Julie Rivera. Yes. Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan. Yes. John Foreman.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Nick Cupido.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Item number 2 is NEAS pay request number 5 for the West Side Sewer Interceptor Project payable to LGS Plumbing Incorporated in the amount of $181,835. Neil?
Mr. President, this is a routine monthly pay request for LGS on the West Side Sanitary Sewer Interceptor Project 1 in the amount of $181,835.
Thank you.
Would you read those other figures into the record, please?
I'm sorry, what figures were those?
Where you have a total completed and stored to date of $2,768,946.49.
Bob, I'll actually trust you to do that because I only have the summary with me from the pay request amount.
All right, so then retention was $218,250.93. Amount previously paid, $2,368,860.56. The current payment due of $181,835. I will make that motion for that approval.
Thank you, Bob. Do we have a second on the motion?
I'll second.
Motion made by Bob, seconded by Julie to approve this pay request. Any discussion? Roll call, please, Margo.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
Julie Rivera. Yes. Ralph Miller.
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan. Yes. John Foreman.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
Nick Cupido.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Item number 3 of new business is NEAS March Water SRF pay request. We're going to handle these all at once then, Chris?
Yes.
Okay. So item A is East Side Water Transmission Main in the amount of $1,477.52. And item B is East Side Elevated Water Tank Construction Services in the amount of $4,163.58. Neil?
Yeah, these are for the East Side Transmission and Elevated Tower projects for your extension and storage projects of the East Side.
Okay. Any questions for Neil?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Colleen? Well, I just have a quick question for Neil. Hold that motion. I had residents contact me on Colfax Street there, Neil. Is there anything we can do with the parking situation there with the contractors? Contractors have been great. He said it's a great crew, but they're having some problems with congestion up and down that street. they had recommended that maybe some of the larger equipment could be parked in the grass.
Yeah, we could absolutely do that.
Okay.
And you're right, it is a challenge because as part of these large, public works projects, you have a lot of equipment out there. And generally, we like to keep the contractor's equipment off the grass because then there's restoration after the project's completed. But if there's a way that Chris and I can work with the contractor out there, then we will absolutely do that.
Okay, I think the biggest concern they had was and they sent me photos, the box trucks were blocking mailboxes and they were not receiving mail, so.
That is absolutely unacceptable, and I will deal with them on that tomorrow.
All right, thanks, Neil, I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Okay, I apologize, Colleen.
No, that's fine, yes.
Motion to approve both of these items?
Second.
Motion made by Colleen, seconded by Rick to approve both of these SRF pay requests. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Nick Recupero?
Yes?
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 7-0. Item number 4, Nice April Water SRF pay request. Two items here. Item A, East Side Water Transmission Main in the amount of $16,742.16. Item B, East Side Elevated Water Tank Construction Services in the amount of $1,890.42. Got it again, Neil?
Yes, these are for routine engineering services for the east side water system as discussed earlier.
Okay. Any questions for Neil? No?
I did have one question. The staff, there's two sections on it, on the report, Neil, for the staff. Is the first yours and the second the LGL guys?
What were the two amounts, John?
The total, it was the 16,742, and the first was like Michael Helmuth, yourself, Marcel Lopez.
Yeah, those were for the east side transmission main.
Gotcha. And then the second was Michael Helmuth, Justin Cost. So that's all your engineers?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
I wasn't sure if that was some LGS or some all yours. Okay, thank you.
No, that's strictly our engineering services for construction observation.
Very good, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, John. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the April water SRF pay requests, A and B.
I'll second it.
Motion to approve both of these pay requests made by John, seconded by Ralph. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Nick Recupero?
Yes?
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Item number 5 is another Nice pay request number 1 for the East Side Water Transmission Main payable to H&G Plumbing in the amount of $410,810.94.
This is for the contractor for the east side transmission main, and this is their first pay request in the amount of $410,810.94.
Okay, thank you, Neil.
Where is H&G out of again?
Crown Point.
They have offices in Valpo and Michigan City.
Don't they have one in Crown Point on Summit Street?
That's LGS.
Oh.
They're on Summit Street directly east
okay.
of
So
Indiana.
You get LGS confused with H&G.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Neil, are there any issues or disputes or disagreements about this first pay request with H&G?
There were. Those have been addressed by staff with Tim and the contractor's representatives in a satisfactory manner.
Chris, you satisfied?
I am.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Oster.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other questions? If not, do we have a motion to approve this pay request?
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion to approve this pay request made by Ralph, seconded by Colleen. Any discussion? Roll call, please, Margot.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
Nick Recupero?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Thank you. Item number 6 is future water capacity needs planning discussion. a revolving topic. Do you have anything, Chris?
I have just a small update on this item. I was notified by County Councilman Randy Niemeyer that the interlocal agreement was passed at the last County Council meeting to send $650,000 to Cedar Lake for East Side Water Development. We've not yet received that interlocal agreement, but I expect to receive it soon. We'll have Dave look at it, and then it'll be on the next utility board or town council meeting once it's been reviewed.
And what will that be for accepting these funds, or?
We also have to pass, so this is kind of goes back to that wonky county process they've made. So we had to request money from them. They then had to put it into an ordinance that they approved last year before, County Councilman Christian Jorgensen was still in office. They then drafted an interlocal agreement after they've gotten our request. They passed it, then they send it to us for us to pass, then we send it back to them. They then approve that we passed it, or recognize it in some form. They then send that request from the county council to the county commissioners, who then review and approve it, send it back over. We are then, I believe we're supposed to send, we already sent an invoice. I think once the county commissioners approve it and send it back to the county council, then they cut it down. I'm gonna have to double check with Randy, because it's...
You need a flow
it's a
chart,
mess.
Chris.
I need red yarn and some...
Yeah, we need a flow chart.
It's not. Only government can make something so confusing.
But once we get the money, it'll be good.
Yeah, and we were initially expecting only $160,000, so with the help of Randy and Larry Blanchard at the county council, we did clarify that it was passed in a resolution by the county council last year that it was $650,000, so at least we are getting more than we initially expected.
Any strings attached with this money?
That'd be used on East Side Water Development.
Okay. Anything else on the future capacity needs, Chris?
That's it for right now. I believe we'll see a Peerless Midwest engagement agreement probably at the next utility board, but I want to make sure we're getting the county council money before we pull the trigger on any major developments that we're not currently doing.
And that was on the previous agenda and
Yeah.
taken off, okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you, Chris. Item number 7, written report. Item A, fund report, clerk treasurer. You have
Did
it?
she email the fund reports to all of you?
I think
Yeah.
or something,
I
they're
got
on
it
the council.
already.
They're on the council one, I think, the packet, okay. Number 8, consultants and staff reports. Item A is engineer Neese.
I have no further reports.
I'm sorry?
I have no further reports.
No further reports?
Thank
Okay,
you.
Neil, thank
I
you.
have a question for him.
Oh, please, Bob, go ahead.
Dr. Mish, who owns 211 Health Clinic now, used to be the Cedar Lake Clinic, one of the first ones we had. He questioned me and wanted to know when we were going to fix the road, Morris, and the side road by his office. He says dirt and stuff is flying in his office from the debris that is out there. Do we have a plan?
We do. They anticipate by the end of next week completing the initial construction on the project, and then they'll move towards the restoration process, which includes the roadway, asphalt, grass restoration, and all those challenging items that we deal with on any road or major infrastructure project. But yeah, they are moving in that direction.
And you don't know a time frame?
The timeframe would be subsequent to when they complete the water main project, and then they'll move towards restoration of the asphalt of the road, and then the grass restoration.
So you don't know if it's 30 days, 60 days? or-
Probably within the next 60 days, and they'll start on it within the next 30.
All right.
Hey, Neil, I had, Mr. Chairman, I've got a question as well.
Please, John.
Neil, the sign that's at 133rd Morris, it says road closed, .48 miles. Can we, I'm assuming that's there because when the project started, we had it closed right over here where we have the well. Could we like cover it with a cloth and or make it say, 2.8 miles, whatever it is, down to Morris where it's closed?
Yeah, we can coordinate that with, I'll get with Dwayne Alverson, the county highway engineer, because that sign was initially set up by LGS, who did or is still continuing on the West Side Sanitary Sewer Interceptor.
Right.
Project 1, and then, H&G coordinated with them to have that advance warning, because unfortunately, the detour route goes through county, and we have to coordinate with their highway engineer on that, but, we can absolutely change that to.
Because, you know, the folks that own the Tasty Top, people say, hey, let's go down there. Well, now there may not be, right?
Understood.
0.48 miles is subject. Now, if we ever have to close the road, put a flagger there, or, you know, make it one lane, but I think it would be helpful to every business south of there.
Yeah, we can, have that move to what it was before, where it was closed at, essentially south of 159.
Right. Thank you.
Absolutely, thanks.
Thanks, John. Anything else for Neil? We'll move on to Director of Operations, Mr. Kubiak, do you have anything?
We're just about got all our pieces in to redo the lift station by Lemon Lake 17, I believe it is. We had to work some lids, and we're gonna be ready to get that one done, so. That's
Lemon Lake Estates.
Lemon Lake Estates, yes. And then, they're continuing hydrant flushing, they're just about done on the west side. They started on the east side doing some, so, that's gonna be wrapping up here hopefully by the next meeting. It takes a while, but they've been doing the business parts at night down 133rd to not impact the businesses, but, we're getting close to that being wrapped up, so.
All right, thanks, Tim. Town Attorney, Mr. Austin.
Just a brief report, Mr. Chairman. I've been in communication with Chris and his team on a pretty important piece of information that you all need to have on a regular basis, and that is the monthly report of operations of the Lowell wastewater treatment plant to Indianapolis. We've begun getting those on a regular monthly basis. It has been our recommendation that you receive the same. What you get out of that package and that filing to Indianapolis by the Lowell personnel is a monthly report that outlines in simplicity, in executive fashion, the flow, the percentage of flow of Cedar Lake to Lowell, any problems or issues with the activities at the wastewater treatment plants, and any capital activities. It's a simple report, but it's really succinct and gives you a really good idea of what's going on down there. I'd recommend that you, when you see it, take a quick look at it so you can keep yourself abreast with the functions and results of the functions at the plant.
Very good.
So,
Thank you, Dave.
it comes out every month on the 27th day of the month. That's when it's filed, and it should be distributed then, because I know we get it.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Number 9, JMOB report, Mr. Salatas, anything?
Working on schedule.
Public comment? Anyone here for public comment for the utility board? Margo, do you have anything for us submitted?
No.
Okay. Public portion's closed. The next meeting for this utility board will be Tuesday, June 20th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. Town council meeting will follow this meeting immediately right now. This meeting adjourned at 7 p.m.
Public meeting for May 16, 2023 is called to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Margot, please.
Robert Carnahan.
Here.
Sheila Rivera. Here. David Trujillo.
Here.
Ralph Miller.
Present.
Alan Sheehan. Here. John Foreman.
Present.
Richard Sharp.
Here.
Jennifer Stanford is absent. Chris Salatas.
Present.
Dave Austin.
Present.
And Margot Mayer.
Thank you, Margot. Just some quick edification for the public comment section. The procedure used at the last public meeting will be in effect at this public meeting. One visit to the podium per person. Keep everything civil and orderly. Town council will listen to all the questions and comments and respond after public comment has ended. Thank you. A continued public hearing, ordinance number 1457, for public way vacation. Davis, review of legals. David?
Legals are in order.
Thank you.
Hi, how you doing?
Hi.
Thomas Davis, 7580 84th Place, in Crown Point.
Yes,
Alexis Davis, 315 67th Street in Cherville.
thank you. Chris, what's the update on this? Do we have a...
I believe at the last council meeting, the suggestion was to go to the planning commission, I think specifically in regards to the roundabout, because this board cannot give any waivers from the subdivision control standards.
We were told to come back first, you could go down a second time.
No vacation, because Bob didn't get a chance to
on the
look
first
at it,
time, wasn't it?
and Nick didn't have an opportunity last meeting, so I don't know if that's where we...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
David, was
Chris,
it...
where's the land, the address?
I don't remember.
Sherman Street?
Yeah,
The
it's on the
very north end of Sherman
Yeah.
Street. There are no utilities in the way of the public, the vacation of the road right away that's looking to be vacated, so this would just be looking at it that merit.
Right, and I think at the last meeting, I brought up that they're asking for a road vacation. What they do after that would happen at the plan commission, and thus a roads or no road, a roundabout or no road, a turnaround or no turnaround. So I think what we have in front of us is cut and dry. We either are in favor of it or against it, you know what I mean?
And there's a map in your package that shows...
There is a map, yeah. Thank you, John.
Yeah, it's just north of 141st Street.
I have a question. There's a $200 charge here. What is this for?
That is for the application to file.
So they at least paid something to the town.
Everybody has to for a public way of vacation.
Okay. I'm glad to see we're getting something.
So you folks are clear on what Mr. Foreman said?
Yes,
that-
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We know that, yeah, this is just an answer, whether to vacate or not, anything forward is not for you guys.
Okay.
It
We
has
have
to
to
be
go back to
brought
the
up.
Yes.
plan.
It was just that last time.
There were two that didn't get a chance to
Didn't have a
review.
chance to review it, and we were told to come back
Thank you, thank you.
this meeting.
Ordinance 1457, can we have a reading of that, Mr. Foreman?
We can. Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1457, an ordinance vacating a public way in the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you. Any remonstrators to this? Let me see. Remonstrators for or against? Remonstrators? Remonstrators. Seeing none, town council discussion?
So is this for adoption, this
This is a second reading.
this is second reading? Okay,
We wouldn't, yeah.
okay.
Well, I think it is, right? Did we do a first reading and complete that?
Yeah, you did, and Nick and I voted.
I think it was
against it.
5-0.
Oh, you're right, Bob.
Yeah, two abstained, yes.
Yeah.
No, they voted no.
Or they voted no.
Yeah.
That's why you had to bring it
We had
back.
to bring it back, yeah.
Thank you, Bob.
Town council discussion, seeing none, town council decision, do you have a motion for adoption?
I'll make a motion for adoption.
Motion by Colleen,
I'll second.
second by Julie. We have a first and a second. Discussion?
I have,
Yeah.
did we for sure vote on it, or did we defer?
Do we
No,
know?
we voted on it.
Okay, I can't remember.
I had
so much excitement at the last couple of meetings. I
It
can't
was
keep it
voted
straight.
on.
Okay, I wanted to make sure, thank you.
Do we have a motion?
Oh, we have Colleen and you have.
Roll call, please, Margot.
Robert Carnahan?
I'm going to vote yes due to the fact that we got some money.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Nick Rakusa?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan? Yes. John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
This is the first road vacation I think Bob voted on in the history of him being a.
Yeah, but I said I want to see the town get at least some money, and I was glad to see that in there.
Bob, I believe for years, the town has been collecting money for vacations.
Well, I know
Now
we
they're
have
paying
some,
taxes.
but I'm seeing it in black and white, where I've never seen it there before.
I believe that for years we've been collecting those.
Yeah. 1457 is adopted. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good luck to you in your journey.
Yes, yeah.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
upon full execution at a station, it needs to be recorded.
Yes, okay.
I'll get that from the person.
We'll get that, yeah, okay. Thank you, David. New public hearing, ordinance number 1455, annexation of 2 additional small parcels into Lakeside South. Review of legals.
Legals are in order.
Thank you, Dave. Reading of ordinance 1455, introductory reading was on April 4, 2023. Could we have a reading of that?
You bet. Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1455, an ordinance annexing certain contiguous land to the town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, and all matters related thereto.
Mr. President,
Yes.
this is the public hearing on the fiscal plan policy, and the next item is the resolution. So you won't act on this tonight, the ordinance, you'll act on the fiscal plan.
Just the fiscal plan, the resolution.
Correct.
Thank you, David. Reading of the resolution,
You bet.
please, John. 1331, by title only.
I'm not seeing electronically in here. Does anyone have it printed?
It's on there,
Where's it at, Nick?
number 2, yeah, page 6. Item number 2 on the left.
If you want, I can read it out.
Yeah, would you?
I got it here.
Thank you.
Resolution 1331, a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, approving and adopting the fiscal plan of petitioner Cedar Lake 133 LLC for the annexation of a parcel of certain real property into the Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you, Chris. Remonstrators, for or against? Remonstrators, for or against? Any remonstrators? Seeing none, town council discussion, any discussion? Bob?
I have a question. Why are we not doing the ordinance that's on our agenda first, and we jumped to the resolution first?
Somebody put it on the agenda, Bob, but we're following the statute.
So we're not doing the ordinance?
Not tonight.
Okay.
Tonight you
Just a resolution.
complete
All right, I
public
just
hearing.
wanted clarification on what I have in front of me.
I got you.
And these fiscal plans are pretty standard, what we're doing here, and the verbiage in them and stuff like that.
Absolutely. The introduction of this parcel into town as a piece of land within the town is as ag zoning, and all responsibilities for everything that occurs is the developers.
Okay.
And
So it can be farmed.
I'm sorry?
It can be farmed right now, or if it gets
Yeah,
approved.
absolutely.
And other than that, they've got to come in for
Right.
approval.
This
Okay.
this is a small piece of property that was kind of gapped and left out.
Yeah.
It'll end up being developed. Not big, it's not really even big enough to farm.
It's a stretch of about 50 feet by 2,700 feet and why it was ever left out of our incorporation, I don't know.
It's a spike strip they did not have
I'll take you to the west side of Cedar Lake and show you a couple of those.
Oh, yeah, I know, we got those two houses on Terrace.
I
That's
think
not
of
the word, that's not the
baseball
word.
diamond and rail sign design.
That little piece started all the way at 133rd between Robbins Nest and Lakeside as a point, and it went from there all the way through to, it's like a sliver of pie that just was unclaimed.
Wow. Okay, thank you. Town council decision on resolution 1331. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Carnahan,
A second.
second by Nick. Any discussion? Roll call, Margot?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Nick Studo?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan? Yes. John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Resolution number 1332, community
President.
develop, yes,
I'm sorry to interrupt.
that's all right, no, David, that's
This will
fine.
be an agenda item at the next public meeting,
For the
for the reading of,
ordinance 1455.
correct, adoption, reading.
Yes, okay, very good. Moving on to number 2, under new public hearing, resolution number 1332, community development block grant. Review of legals. David?
Mr. Clerk,
I didn't have any.
all action taken tonight should be subject to review of the legals. I don't have that,
Okay.
and Jen's not here.
Everybody hear that? All action tonight should be subject to review of legals.
Yes, sir.
Opening remarks for the CDBG public hearing. This all needs to be read, David, you said?
Yes,
Just
the opening
please,
comments.
Could you read that?
Okay.
Please.
Opening
John?
remarks of the CDBG public hearing. Each spring, the Lake County Community Economic Development Department applies to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, for new funding through the Community Development Block Grant Program, CDBG. One of the application requirements is to hold public hearings in the communities where CDBG funding is allocated in order to obtain input from the local citizens on the proposed use of the new funding for the fiscal year 2023. The Town of Cedar Lake CDBG allocation is $66,320. The most common use of CDBG funds is for infrastructure, including street reconstruction, sanitary sewer, water line, extensions, storm drains, improvements, sidewalks, projects to remove architectural barriers such as curbs, cuts, wheelchair ramps. CDBG funds may also be used to eliminate slums and blight through demolition of unsafe buildings or other clearance activities. CDBG funded infrastructure projects may only be done in areas where the neighborhood is at least 51% low to moderate income according to HUD guidelines. In most cases, an income survey must be done to qualify the area for funding eligibility. The income information taken by the survey is strictly confidential and is used solely for the purpose of determining the area's eligibility for CDBG funding. Handicapped access projects and demolition may be done anywhere in the community without the need for area income determinations. The public hearing is just the start of the application process for Lake County. There are a series of legal advertisements and comment periods that take place during the summer prior to the final grant approval from HUD in late August. The new CDBG funding is released to the county and its entitlement communities on or around September 1st and needs to be expended by June 15th of the following year. After public comment tonight, 3 documents will need to be read and adopted. The Affirmative Action Program, Section 3, Understanding and Resolution authorizing the city-town executive to submit a project proposal for CDBG funding. Finally, project applications and supporting documentation need to be submitted no later than May 19th, 2023 for review by Lake County. The floor is open for comments.
Is Tim Brown here?
I don't see, he's usually here, Bob, yes, he's usually here.
I haven't seen Tim Brown in years at these. Just recently, I didn't see him either. They stopped coming.
Are there any remonstrators? The floor is open for comments. Remonstrators?
I just want to ask a question.
Yes.
Okay, it can be used for unsafe buildings, demolition of, correct? John, you mentioned
Yes,
that?
it can be.
Okay, if, for instance, if we remove a home right now, currently it goes on to that tax, on the tax roll, correct? We try to refund that money back to us?
Well, if we remove a home, through the unsafe, you mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Usually
let's
we capture the cost that we did the tear down, and then we put a lien against property.
property, so could this money eliminate a lien on someone's property if they're low income?
I don't know, David?
Probably not.
Not,
Statute
okay.
refers to the direct correlation of town costs, again, on that property for the work that was done.
Okay, I was just trying to see how we can get rid of some of these houses, that's all. And then the wheelchair accessibility ADA, that has to be on the public location, correct? Not like American Legion, Eagles, stuff like that? No.
It most likely would have to be town-owned property.
Yes,
I just wanted to,
Yeah,
thank you.
unfortunately, yeah.
and I think all of it is scheduled for Lindsway again this year.
Oh, it's already scheduled, okay, thank you.
But not approved yet.
Not approved, not approved, but yes. Thank you. Any other comments?
Mr. President?
Yes.
The legals were in the packet, and they were published 4/29 and 5/3 of 2023.
They're in order.
So the legals are in order? Thank you, Margot. Thank you, Dave.
Mr. President,
Yes.
there was a note in the second to last paragraph of the opening remarks about city-town executive. That should be the town council president.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Dave. Okay. Now we move to the reading of affirmative action program by title only. John?
Do that.
Correct, Dave?
That's correct. Incorporate into any motion you make that the statement be verbatim included into the town meeting minutes.
Okay. Resolution number 1332, a resolution authorizing and directing the town council president of the town of Cedar Lake to submit a project proposal for community development block grant funds for federal fiscal years 2023. That was number 1332.
Okay, that's the reading of the resolution. We need the reading of the affirmative action program also. That's it. It's just the title of it.
Okay, I'm looking for it.
It is page 7 of that packet,
Okay, backwards a little bit.
Thank you, Chris.
Not mine.
on your iPad.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, 2 of 12, 3. Citizen participation plan, affirmative action program, okay, page
Yeah.
7 of 12. Affirmative, am I reading the entire thing?
No, just the title.
Affirmative action program implementing section 3 of the Housing and Urban Development Act of 1968.
Thank you, John. Then reading of section 3, understanding.
Okay.
That should be right after.
It is.
Entirely,
No,
No.
just the,
Lake County, Indiana, section 3, understanding.
thank you, John. We've had the reading of resolution 1332, reading of the affirmative action program, and the reading of section 3, understanding. Town council discussion?
Okay. This is for Lindsway now?
Correct, approximately 18 handicap accessibility ramps for sidewalks
Okay.
at intersections.
So in this packet, there's,
88, right?
8, yes.
ADA, yes.
you've got some caveats, I guess, or requirements.
I will, before you possibly read something, if there's any cost estimates in here, I would ask you to not read those off, because this does have to be publicly bid.
Oh, I wasn't planning on that, Chris, thank you, though. The requirements, workers' requirements, stuff like that, is that not for these type of projects, but other projects?
No, so it would be, so specifically the Davis-Bacon Wage Act, which we encountered with the SRF program, also applies to this program because it's federal funding. The county themselves, specifically Jason Ryder within Tim Brown's office, monitors and the compliance for that. He also participates in any pre-construction meetings that we would have with the contractor that's awarded the bid to make sure that they understand, as well as those requirements will be in the bid docs, so that way any companies bidding on those projects have full understanding that they have to apply or abide by those regulations.
But we're gonna get the best people for the job here, not quotas?
Absolutely.
Okay, gotcha.
They gotta be union.
They have to abide by the Davis-Bacon wage.
Right, which is union.
I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I'm not certain I want to defend that, Bob.
Any additional discussion? Do we have a town council decision on adoption of affirmative action program verbatim?
I'd make a motion, on the comment read in the record by the president, as well as giving the president approval to sign.
Motion by John,
Second.
second by Colleen.
With verbatim insertion of this.
Verbatim insertion of the affirmative action.
action. Thank you.
Yes, affirmative action program.
And I agree.
Thanks, John.
Colleen is in favor.
Yes.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I would just say it's incredible, the bureaucracy for $66,000 grant that has to be followed, gone through.
Yes.
It's a lot of, another $20,000 in paperwork before it's all said and done, you know?
Yeah, but Lake County is one of,
No, I understand.
that gets the money directly, where most of the counties in the state have to go through a focus fund.
Right. So that's all.
Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Nick Cupido?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven? Yes. John Foreman?
Yes?
Richard Sharp?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Town council decision on adoption of section 3, understanding verbatim insertion. As before. Do we have any discussion?
I guess this is another one I have for Chris, Mr. President.
Yeah, Nick.
Section 3 understanding has, again, some hiring requirements. Is that gonna apply to us and what we do with the sidewalks?
I believe so. Yeah, 'cause we abide by all regulations.
That's gonna be on the contractor?
It would be on a contractor.
Okay.
Correct. And then again, county monitoring compliance.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Do we have a motion to adopt section 3?
Motion to adopt section 3, understanding
Verbatim.
verbatim.
Insertion. Thank you, John.
Welcome.
Go to second.
I'll second.
Second by Nick. Motion, discussion? Roll call, Margot?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Nick Cupido?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven? Yes. John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Town council decision on resolution number 1332. Any comment? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by-
1332.
Motion by Julie,
I'll second.
second by Colleen. Any discussion? Roll call, Margot?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Nick Cupido?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven? Yes. John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Public comment on agenda items only.
Just a question.
Mary, yes.
When you refer to under new business number 1 and number 2, could you share the location of those easements? When you get to those items, would you mind
Okay.
sharing the location?
Okay,
Right,
we
thank
can do
you.
that.
Thank you.
Consent agenda, minutes, April 4th, 2023. Claims, all town funds, $916,150.25. Wastewater operating, $561,920.65. Water utility, $110,468. Stormwater, $20,437.51. Payroll, 4/23/23. 5/1/23 and 5/11/23, $633,262.73. In April remittances, $166,800.12. Manual journal entries, April 1st to April 30th, 2023. Donations, People's Bank, $250, their donation. Tag request, Rick Larson Wrestling, June 24th, 2023, no rain date for this date. Item 6, sweet corn sales, July 1st to September 1st in True Values parking lot. Motion to accept and waive the reading of the minutes and accept the consent agenda as listed.
So moved.
Motion by Julie.
I'll second.
Second by Ralph. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me the question about, what we pay, the low sewer treatment, and I saw 2 claims in there for about $103,000. But anybody that's interested in these, bills that we pay, it's posted out there, as you walk in the sliding door.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob.
And who seconded that motion?
I did, Ralph did.
Thank you.
Roll call?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Nick Cupido?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Schott?
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance number 1460, job description, soccer referee, and seasonal open space groundskeeper. Chris?
So this is an ordinance amending the job descriptions where tweaking the soccer referee job description as well as the seasonal open space groundskeeper, essentially just modernizing them. Now that we've got a parks department that's up and running, we just want to have everything I's dotted, T's crossed.
Is that 2 employees?
Those would be 2 job descriptions,
Yeah, for 2 different employees.
2 different sets of employees. So
Right.
there's
Well, when I
multiple
read it,
referees.
I kinda thought it might be 1 employee, but 1 employee couldn't do all that work that I saw in there.
Correct, so there's 1 job description for soccer referees, which there's a set of employees that are soccer referees, that's what they do, and then there's a set
That's
of,
okay.
right now, 1 employee that's the open space groundskeeper.
That's what I thought, I wanted clarification on that.
Yeah.
Reading of ordinance number 1460, Mr. Foreman?
You bet.
By
Town of
title
Clear
only.
Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1460, an ordinance amending town ordinance number 1064 being an ordinance establishing job employment descriptions for the town of Clear Lake, repealing all ordinances and town code sections or portions thereof in conflict herewith, and all matters related hereto, creating the job description of the soccer referee job position and seasonal open space groundskeeper for the town, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Any discussion? Motion?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 1460.
Motion by Colleen,
Second.
second by Mr. Foreman. Discussion? Roll call, Morgan?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Nick Cupido?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven? Yes. John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Schott?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Dave, do we
You should,
suspend,
you should consider that. These are employees that are being explored right now.
Springtime is upon us, I would agree.
could we suspend the rules?
I make a motion to suspend the rules and do a second reading of ordinance number 1460.
Motion. Motion by Mr. Foreman, second by Mr. Miller. Roll call?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Nick Cupido?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven? Yes. John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Schott?
Motion carries 7-0. Ordinance number 1460 by title only.
Town of Clear Lake, Lake County, Indiana, ordinance number 1460, an ordinance amending town ordinance number 1064 being an ordinance establishing job employment descriptions for the town of Clear Lake, repealing all ordinances and town code sections of portions thereof in conflict herewith, and all matters related hereto, creating the job descriptions of the soccer referee, job description, and seasonal open space groundskeeper for the town, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you, John. Do we have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 1460, soccer referee, job description, as well as seasonal open space groundskeeper.
Motion by Mr. Foreman,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Miller. Discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Nick Cupido?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven? Yes. John Foreman?
Yes.
And Richard Schott?
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. 1460 is hereby adopted. BZA Plan Commission, Centennial Estates reinstatement of zoning. Chris?
So this one's an interesting one.
They've all been.
Yes, Dave Glenn. When we adopted the zoning ordinance with accompanying map, The intention of the zoning map was not to give credence to what we expect to go into an area that is the comprehensive plan's job. The zoning map's job is to show you what current properties are zoned. Previous to the zoning map that we have now, what we had was and Tim can attest to this, a very old book that was kept in building department that you would then have to refer to see what properties were zoned, which zoning in the town of Cedar Lake. So the undertaking, and specifically with our engineers, was to take that book, modernize it, and make it into a map that we have that you've seen. It's not directly behind me, but it's back there in the stack. With that process came some errors. There's some scrivener's errors that need to be cleaned up, and then there's some map errors. This would be a map error. The parcel that is discussed here is approximately 17 acres south of Industrial Drive, which was originally part of Centennial Village.
Pod D, or Pod C.
Pod C. It was annexed into the town of Cedar Lake in 2006-ish, approximately, with zoning, and it had received PUD zoning. So the map currently reflects that it's zoned industrial and agricultural inaccurately, and it should be zoned or should have the PUD zoning that it had because it does not have a rezone on it. The property owner brought that up to us. This is actually the second instance of the zoning map correction that we've seen. So this would be a correction of the zoning map, essentially, to restore that underlying zoning that they received in annexation. Did I miss any of that part, Dan?
No.
Because there is another component.
There is. Go ahead.
The next component is that the potential purchaser, developer of this property, Alpop Homes, brought a conceptual plan to the Plan Commission at its last work session to show what they would like to do to the property in development. Restoring the underlying zoning and making a PUD amendment. The current underlying zoning that it received in 2006 allows for a density of 20 dwelling units per acre. The current modernized plan from Alpop Homes shows a zoning density of 7.8 dwelling units, approximately 7.8 dwelling units per acre. Working with the potential purchaser of this property, staff had several concerns, the main one being two access points in and out of the subdivision. It's a safety concern for public safety, access, what happens if, an accident happens and the one entrance and we can't get to it. So the current property, or the potential property purchaser, has committed to eliminating one of the lots to the east in one of the beacon points, I believe. It's a duplex lot to provide a secondary access, which was shown on their concept plan that was presented to the Planning Commission at their last meeting. I guess, Dave, now I'm going to turn it over for you for anything that I missed.
This parcel is a very unique parcel, 17 acres in the southwest corner of the Centennial project. It's the last piece to be developed. It's called Pod C. The only way we have a chance of getting this developed and having it done in conformance with our current zoning ordinance, our new codes, our replacement codes, is by finding a developer who would bring something like this to us. There's been no approval. It's concept presentation only, and there'll be a lot of discussion about it coming up in the coming months. But this will be a proposal made by a developer who knows us, knows our rules, knows our requirements, and is bringing compliance to the parcel of land consistent with our laws and our regulations.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Dave. We've heard an explanation of the reinstatement of zoning for Centennial Estates. Do we have a motion to approve?
I just have a quick question,
Yes.
Mr. President, if I could. So this still would have to go through the regular Plan Commission process?
Everything.
Everything?
Everything.
Okay. You guys, last meeting, maybe heard something about it, right, at the last Plan Commission?
We talked about the last
We talked
session
about it.
a week ago,
Yeah.
Chris, Nick, and they essentially showed us a plan where the new road would come out, so on and so forth, but that was it, only at a work session. We
Gotcha.
haven't voted on anything or anything like that.
Okay. Fair enough. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Nick.
Mr. President,
Yes.
May I suggest that this item be deleted from your agendas going forward? The Plan Commission will get this next.
The one we're talking about, just go ahead and delete it?
Yes,
Okay.
remove it from your future agendas until it's time and it's ready.
Okay, okay.
Here's how you'll get it back. It'll come to you with a recommendation certification from the Plan Commission on a zone map amendment. And you'll consider a zoning ordinance text amendment or a map amendment or not. But it'll be here on this floor, on the record. Plan Commission will have a public hearing also.
Sure. Okay. We need a motion to delete?
Or you can use that gavel and direct.
This item is deleted from the agenda. Thank you. We move to number 2, which actually becomes number 1. Beacon Point West, Unit 5, performance letter of credit extension with a 25% reduction for a new total in the amount of $212,835.71 and a new expiration date of May 24th, 2024. Chris?
It's been received, everything's in order. The letter of credit is with People's Bank.
People's Bank. Thank you. Any discussion?
And the reason for the reduction?
I believe they've installed infrastructure that qualified them to receive a reduction.
Okay.
Engineers have checked off also.
Okay, thank you guys.
In fact, the engineer's letter should be attached to the performance letter of credit surety.
It's not in the packet.
I'm not
but it will
sure
be
it's in the
attached
packet, but
physically.
yes.
That'll need to be done.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to approve this performance letter of credit extension with a 25% reduction for Beacon Point West, Unit 5.
And the expiration date of May 24th, 2024.
Yep.
Thanks, Nick. Motion by Mr. Recupero. Do we have a second?
I'll make the second.
Second by Mr. Miller. Discussion?
Yeah, I have a discussion. David, I brought this up before. Years ago, we never had to do this. The folks on the other side of the wall just executed all of this. And then we somehow started doing, is it necessary, Chris or David, that we have to go through this process for these reductions?
Legally speaking, John, the town of Cedar Lake is accepting this surety, and you are the representative of the town.
Right.
That's why it's here.
Okay, but years ago, we never used to go through this step.
I know.
Okay.
Things have changed.
Okay.
Dinosaurs were here at one time too.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know.
They were.
Depends who you ask. I'm a dinosaur.
Let's go Fisher.
We've had a motion and a second. Discussion? Roll call?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Nick Recupero?
Yes?
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colin Sheehan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Hanover Community School Corporation. Extension of a performance letter of credit in the amount of $373,557.25 with a new expiration date of May 19th, 2024. Chris?
This is the first one I've seen from Cynthia Bank, but yes, the letter of credit is in order, and we recommend that the motion attach Don's letter of, review letter to it, the letter of credit.
Thank you. Any discussion? Do you have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve extension of the performance letter of credit with the attached Christopher B. Burke Engineering letter.
Thank you, John.
I'll second.
Second by Nick. We've had a motion by John, second by Nick. Discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Nick Recupero?
Yes?
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colin Sheehan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Extension of variance of use for 141 Partners LLC, Mike Newbar for 10702 West 141st Avenue, received a favorable recommendation from the BZA on May 11, 2023. Vote was 5-0.
This is just a ministerial extension of the variance of use that they had received. It's noted favorably 5-0. They had some challenges, like everybody has, getting ductile iron water pipe, because we are not flexing on our building standards. So they needed additional time to get supplies so they can start construction.
Thank you, Chris.
Is this a one-year extension, or are there?
Yes, I would recommend a one-year extension.
From, would that be from the BZA meeting?
Yes,
Or today?
so it would be May 11th, 2024 would be the new extension date.
Okay. No other contingencies the BZA put on it? Just a simple extension?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion, Mr. President, to extend this variance of use as presented here with a one-year extension to expire on May 11th, 2024.
Thank you, Nick.
I'd like to second Nick's motion.
Second by John. Discussion? Roll call?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Nick Recupero?
Yes?
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven? Yes. John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Schreiber?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. New business. Consider approval to purchase an easement for trail improvements from James and Corey Chambers in the amount of $46,750 and to authorize the town manager, clerk treasurer, and town attorney to finalize the execution of those documents.
This is an easement that we're looking to acquire, and there's going to be several more that will come down as they're negotiated through Dave's office. This is for the Founder's Creek Trail and Sidewalk project, so unfortunately those are two separate projects formally for NERC, but the town views them as one, as trying to create a walkable corridor on the east side. This is on the 133rd side of that corridor between Lemon Lake Park and the churches on the south side of 133rd. And this will be paid from out of park impact fees.
Do you have their address as requested in public comment?
I don't, but you could GIS locate the Chambers property since it's
So it's south of
it's on the south side of 133rd.
South of 100, okay.
Yes.
and their backyard is, right now, their backyard faces the east?
This would be in their front yard, so
Oh,
this would
this
be
is-
for a sidewalk. So this is on the south side of 133rd, trying to fill in the sidewalk gap that currently exists.
Okay. Quarter mile south of 133rd, eighth mile? If we have to guess.
This is right on 133rd.
Oh, it is, right on the corner.
John, by the
Yes.
church is over there, Faith Church
Okay.
and the Catholic Church.
Okay, so right off of,
Yes.
literally.
Right on 100, that's why it's so expensive. It's a house.
Right, I understand.
Yeah.
133rd, okay. Yes, Dave?
These prices or amounts are based upon appraisals.
Right.
And there's a median of appraisals we secured. So no guessing about the money, no guessing about the value, and no guessing about the offer.
Facts.
Because these projects are going to be federally funded, likely federally funded through NERC, we're going through the NERC process of acquiring these easements, so that way there's no hiccups when it gets funded for a grant.
Mary Jo, did that answer your question?
Thank you.
We've heard an explanation of the purchase of an easement. Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Colleen,
I'll second.
second by Julie. Discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Nick Recupero?
Yes?
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Schreiber?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Consider approval to purchase an easement for trail improvements from LBL Development in the amount of $12,000 and to authorize the town manager, clerk treasurer, and town attorney to finalize the execution of those documents. Chris?
So very similar to the last one, this one is formally part of the Founder's Creek Trail section of this project that was funded through NERC, so we are going through that same process as described before. This is through the Founder's Creek / Brent Farm that comes right out onto Morse Street on the southwest corner of that property there. So it comes directly east of that easement.
The southwest corner?
Next to the Methodist Church.
Correct.
Okay.
Mary Jo, is that?
And also to be paid out of park impact fees.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
How wide is this trail supposed to be, or do we have plans for that yet?
Be your standard walking trail, so about 8 feet. We have not got into engineering yet, so I don't have that exact answer. It can change in some areas.
So side-by-sides and golf carts are gonna be fine on it?
Should be.
Yeah.
And if you got a golf cart.
Did you say golf carts?
Engineering is set to commence in 2026.
Walking trail.
Thank you.
Multi-use trail.
We've heard an explanation. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Colleen,
I'll second.
second by Ralph. Discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Nick Cupido?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Consider approving hiring additional staff for the fire department. Received a favorable recommendation from the Board of Safety. Chris, you want to?
Yeah, so you do have the letter in here, and I'm sure the chief can speak onto this, but I would recommend the approval of, and I believe we've had 2 members that were on the original letter drop out from the volunteer, so it would be 1 part-timer and 2 volunteers for the fire department. I'll turn it over to chief.
That's accurate. But I'd like to also add a request to that. The process to hire volunteers and actual experienced part-timers is too long. We're losing people. They're pulling their applications. If you're a career firefighter or a part-time firefighter that works for Crown Point, St. John, Cherville, and you gotta go through an interview process with the Cedar Lake Fire Chiefs, then go before the Board of Safety for an interview process, and then come before the council for approval, you're going to some other fire department before you work here. No other department around here has that long of a process to allow them to work part-time. For instance, St. John, if you go to St. John, as long as you are a member of another department, the chief's committee hires part-time people, so does Cherville, and so does Crown Point. And as long as there's a background check. The reason we're losing people and the reason we can't fill part-time people is because of just that. We had someone that was wanting to work for us part-time when we did the whole interview process. They didn't show up because he said he wanted to start working ASAP, and he went to Crown Point instead. They said, your guys' process is way too long and somewhat cumbersome. So what I'm asking for, and I sent you guys, all you guys an email on this request,
Yep, we got it.
is to allow the fire department, the fire chief, as long as the person's experienced and comes from another department, to hire part-time people. The volunteer staff, I don't mind them going through the Board of Safety process, but we need people. And what's happened, this is exactly what's happened. We're getting down on part-time people. We're begging for them. Our clerk treasurer's office has, even in the past, Margot said, even in the past, the more part-timers can fill in some of the full-time spots. The problem is we're ending up not getting enough part-timers to do that. And our full-timers are ended up covering those spots as well, which puts us in an overtime situation again. I'm missing one person right now who just recently quit, and I have another person off on administrative leave. And we are in overtime up to our you-know-what. If I was able to hire part-time people somewhat quickly that have experience from other departments through a background check system, we could put people in those slots and be able to work pretty quick-like. So what I'm asking for is approval by the council to at least hire the part-time people that come to us with experience, and get them on our roster and get them on our schedule as soon as we possibly can.
When you say it's taking too long, is it like weeks, months?
Yeah, months, yeah.
Because of the way the meetings are scheduled? Like the way the...
Mary Jo, because it takes, by the time you make application, I'm sorry, she asked the question. You make the application, you come for the paperwork, then we do an interview, and then we have to get our Board of Safety together. And the Board of Safety, there's, 5 of them, they all work. So we go through that process, which costs money, comes out of our budget to do those interviews. And then after they do the interviews, then we have to wait for a council meeting. A lot of times, if we're trying to get somebody in the academy, we miss the opportunity. We've missed the opportunity twice now with two different people to get them into the academy because we were going through this long process. They only do the academy twice a year. And if we don't get them in and get them into those slots, then, then they miss out.
But other cities and towns have to wait till the next public meeting to hire the person anyway.
I just said that the
So
Crown
we did-
Point, Cherville,
So
St.
we did
John,
it, so since
they
it's
hire.
personnel, we have why don't we do this? We have a process that's in place.
We don't have a process in place.
Well, in the past,
In the past, the chief was allowed to hire part-time people and allowed to hire volunteers.
pre-public safety committee, are you saying?
Yeah, well, even during us having the public safety committee, it was recently changed when I made a request to have a part-timer, and it wouldn't be processed by the clerk's office, because she wanted it to be approved by the board of safety and by the council.
So if we streamlined and did exec to this personnel, so we are legal to do exec, maybe before a council meeting, we can kill two birds with one stone. Would that help?
I don't understand the need for it. I mean, I guess when you got a 15-year veteran of the Crown Point Fire Department who wants to come here and work part-time,
Right.
now he's got to go through this whole drawn-out hiring process with our department. So what he does instead is he goes up and talks to the St. John Fire Chief and gets on their part-time list because all he got to do is an interview with their chiefs. This isn't, I mean, this is about trusting your fire department staff
Sure.
to be able to select people they work with anyways. I'm not asking for this to be done for full-time people in any way, shape, or form. I know that is no way, okay? We've always done this. We've always been allowed to put part-time people on.
Have you taken this to the Public Safety Board?
The Public Safety Board, I have mentioned this to the Public Safety Board as well.
Do they have any opinion?
Yeah, because we just did the whole interviewing process with them, and some of them didn't understand why. So, they're like, this is just merely a formality, we're gonna hire these guys because they're already, and we need them. We need them bad.
Well, we need to minimize the overtime.
We can't minimize the overtime when we have people that leave.
No, I agree.
The last person
More
just left
part-time.
took a job in the middle,
Yeah, your game plan makes logical sense to
and
me. If they're employed
took a job in the middle after working here and
why would we care?
just doubled his money, and we now have another one off on administrative leave. If I had enough part-time people, I could put them in those spots, helping us cover those full-time slots. But now, the few part-timers I have are actually working so much, they're getting overtime. Right, Mark?
Yes.
Yeah.
Margot, any ideas?
I think the reason Jen wanted to withhold having that part-timers stop because the way the budget is going, you are going to exceed your part-time line item unless you can find a way to transfer money into that. But your overtime line item's running way over too.
Because of things like this. And it really doesn't matter how many part-time people we have, there's only so many part-time shifts. So if I have two part-time people, and they cover all the part-time shifts and get it overtime, if I had three part-time people, we wouldn't have anybody in overtime.
How many do we have right now, part-time people?
6.
6?
No, I'm sorry, you have 15.
Yeah, but that's
You're on the roster.
Yeah, it's on the roster, they don't work.
Well, then, maybe we should.
They're removed. They're getting removed, yeah.
I think we
They
need
take
to.
a job elsewhere full-time.
Back here.
We need a little bit more, yeah.
I think, I don't know,
I've
we're
sent out
St. John.
tons of emails to you guys to look at without any response, guys. We are hemorrhaging, and I need the help.
We're not saying we're not gonna help you.
I
Nobody said no here. Bob didn't say no.
No, I just want more information from our clerk treasurer.
Well, I think we're in a dire situation if we don't get
Bob, let me
part-time
explain to you what
quickly.
exactly the
Spend more
situation
overtime.
is. I have a certain amount of money for the budget in my part-time. It doesn't matter if I have 50 part-time people or 5 part-time people. There's only so many part-time hours. If I can spread it out amongst more people, we don't ever get into overtime with part-timers. There's only so many hours.
Why aren't these 15 people working?
They're not, because they've taken jobs elsewhere. One of them is in the military and has been on leave. There's just all kinds of different reasons.
Are we buying the gear for them, or they're
No.
wearing their Crown Point gear?
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Part-timers typically bring their own gear with them.
I see. So there's no,
Or we hook them up with all the old used gear.
I'm in favor of what Chief's saying, I think it makes sense. If they're good enough for another local city or town, and they're willing to help us out, it helps us with our issue of overtime.
I don't mind having, when we do our interviews with the chiefs, having the commission board of safety chairman and Chris, sit in on those as well for, I don't know, for transparency reasons, I don't know. We're not, there's not people just knocking down the doors. When you get an opportunity to get people, you get them, because the system in northwest Indiana is, all these paramedics and paramedic firefighters go to the highest bidder. It's kind of hard to say it that way, but if Cedar Lake is paying $20 an hour or $18 an hour, and Cherville's paying $26 an hour, well, that's where they'll go to Cherville. And if they have to jump through all these hoops in Cedar Lake and don't have to do it in Cherville or Grand Point, that's where they'll go.
David, could I get?
That's what I'm asking for, that's all.
Sorry.
Could I get your thoughts on this?
I don't want my thoughts.
Okay, all right.
Would they have to still do a background check,
Yeah, we always do a background check.
regardless?
Yeah, that's what I'm suggesting. We do a background check on them, and then as long as they're on another department, to allow them to work for us part-time.
Did you ask the Board of Safety to do the same thing, like to vote on whether the guy should come before them or not?
I did not,
Okay.
no, because I was told this was a council
Okay.
decision.
I mean, I'd be fine with them not coming before us. Can you do like a joint interview with the Board of Safety and yourself?
I don't mind doing that, at all, Julie, it's
Yeah, I
just,
don't mind them, like.
it's just this
having
now
a
has
council meeting.
taken 3 more weeks to get here,
Mhm.
and 2 people left. And one of my part-timers said heck with it, he took a job in Crum, or one that was applying took a job in Crum.
So what if we did before council meeting, we came in early, tried to get the Board of Safety on board, did the exact meeting, talked about it, we could vote on it that night, right? So that way you're 2 weeks off maximum.
I don't know if it needs to go before the council. The Board of Safety is like the second
I agree.
check and balance, I guess.
Chris, can I have your thoughts, please?
My opinion is we're trying to do what we try to do on the plan commission, or at least we try to avoid, is we're trying to engineer something on the fly, live and in person. I think I'd like to see a written proposal, like the proposal we've got for the firefighters that are on the agenda now. So that way we have something in writing that we can tangibly see and review and have some time to digest. I think that would be wise. I think a little more information. But we do have an item on the agenda right now.
I think that.
We do have an item on the agenda.
We got off on a tangent, there's no doubt, but.
When does the Board of Safety meet again?
Last Wednesday of the month.
Yeah. I have no problem putting together a proposal, not a problem.
Did you copy Chris on the email you sent us to?
I'm sure I did, because when I push council, it's always, you're on the council one, right?
Yeah.
It didn't go to it? I'm sorry, I apologize, that's supposed to go to you.
Correct. Good discussion.
So they meet on the.
The reason initial hires come to you is because that's what the Indiana code says.
Okay.
You're the approval of initial hires. And we're talking part-time people. There's a distinction between initial hires or not. If they're initial hires, the statute says this body has to approve.
Has to approve.
That's why they come, and police also. We have them here and celebrate their joinder to us, because that's what the law says. It's celebratory in many respects, but it doesn't need to be. It can be a bit more substantive, however you deem appropriate. But that is the Indiana law. You can find it in Title 36.
So for part-timers as well.
Thank you, Dave.
I'm sorry?
So for part-timers and volunteers.
They're initial hires. If they're initial hires, Julie.
Initial hires for Cedar Lake.
Right,
Okay.
that's right.
Okay.
And that's only for police and fire, not public works or
That's right.
parks or whoever.
That's all. You may employ as many as you need to conduct services.
I didn't see that anywhere in the law.
I'll show it to you tomorrow.
I would appreciate seeing that, because I don't know, then Sherville, St. John, and Crown Point must be doing it wrong, Dave.
They must be.
We do have a item,
We have a vote on.
This item went through the whole process.
okay. So we're considering approving hiring additional staff for the fire department. 1 part-time and 2 volunteers, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
After discussion on something else, do we have a motion on this particular item?
Make a motion to approve the additional hires.
I'll second.
Yep, thank you. Motion by Julie, second by Colleen. Discussion?
I want to say something after we vote
Okay.
Okay.
regarding the other subject we're
Yes,
discussing.
yeah. Roll call?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Nick Cupido?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes, motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Chief, how many liaisons do we have? Bob and Ralph, or just Ralph? Ralph and Nick?
Ralph,
With the safety committee, maybe just spark an email, make it happen sooner than later. If we need a private or exec session to knock it out, so be it.
I'll put it in
That way, in
a,
2 weeks, we have something if you need it.
I'll put it in a lexical procedure to be viewed for everybody, then that way it'll be, if it is approved, it'll be right in our procedures.
Yeah, it makes,
I like that.
make logical sense.
That's where it belongs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in favor, yeah. Okay, good, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Item 4, approve Chris Salatas, Town Manager, as the authorized signatory to execute all CCMG 2023-1 documents.
Similar to last year's CCMG, if it's the pleasure of the board, I just need authorization in writing, or memorialized in the minutes, to execute the contracts with NDOT.
Very good. Thank you, Chris. Do we have a motion to approve Chris?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Colleen,
I'll second.
second by Ralph. Discussion? Roll call?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Nick Cupido?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Consider lifting the 133rd corridor moratorium on commercial development enacted by the town council on August 16, 2022. David, Chris, whoever, go first, second.
Thanks. As you know, and as you directed, the town staff, myself, have been reviewing and analyzing the 133rd Avenue corridor. We've been doing that in the context of zoning, assessing an overlay district, and identifying ways, means, and methods under the zoning laws of preserving property values, of making similarities to uses that will complement each other in the overlay district, and to assure that the quality of uses is B2 exclusively throughout that zoning category or that overlay. In the course of that study, we learned a lot about a lot of land, a lot of parcels of property, etc. And it occurs to us that probably presently, given the very small amount of vacant land that exists in the corridor, that a moratorium today might not be warranted, and particularly given the impending commercial development, high-quality commercial development that is about to occur. It's our recommendation that at the present time, the moratorium you imposed in a public meeting action here be lifted and removed pending further review and analysis and study with the Plan Commission. We're working with the Plan Commission on this. We made a report the last meeting. There'll be more. There's been more work done on this, but at the present time, that's our recommendation.
I think that hits it on the head.
What's the status of this at the Plan Commission level?
I'm sorry, what?
What's the status of this at the Plan Commission level?
The public hearing has been held, and as a consequence of the public hearing being held, Nick, we got a lot of really good comments and input. Folks came in prepared to talk about things, their properties, properties that exist in the district, and that gave us a lot of information to work off of. In fact, from that series of comments from interested citizens, property owners, and that meeting, we went away with a lot more information to work on or supplement in presentation to the Plan Commission. So it was really, really good. But it appears right now, at the present time, we're probably in good shape pending further digesting of the information and processing in the public. I would suggest that, and I will do this with Chris and team, that if we come back to the Plan Commission with a significant amount more work done, that we'll advertise another public hearing. That was incredibly fruitful.
We're gonna deal with more of it at the work session in June.
Right.
Good deal. Thank you,
Yeah,
Dave.
there'll be supplement to the reports, Bob. Correct.
We've heard an explanation for the lifting of the moratorium. Do we have a motion to approve the lifting? Did you, Bob? Okay. Motion by Bob, second by,
I'll second, Mr. President.
thank you, Nick, second by Nick. Any discussion? Roll call?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Nicholas Russo?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Item 6, approve Parks and Recreation request to host a free summer concert series on the town grounds featuring Lakeside Artists Guild and other artists, and to allow attendees to bring their own refreshments as they have in the past. This was approved by the Park Board as a co-sponsor event with LSHE. Chris?
So this was approved as a Park Board to give the town 7 concert series events. My understanding, it was a heavy topic of discussion, would be that they're still required to have their police officer on the grounds monitoring the event as required, as well as insurance. And it's the Park Board's desire to somehow make this concert series happen here in Cedar Lake, so we don't lose this for the community.
But without us waiving the fees. We're not waiving the fees.
Their recommendation.
That's their recommendation.
David? Please.
Mr. President, from the lawyer's side of this, I do not recommend this be considered. When you conduct the business of our park facility here, you're in charge. It's a parcel owned by the town of Cedar Lake, and in furtherance of that, you engage or allow events to occur, special events I'll call for discussion, because I'll segue here in a second. You contract with the vendors, producers, whomever the entity operators are, for use of the property. There are significantly important terms and conditions: insurance, public safety, private safety, et cetera, depending upon the issue or the event. We don't have that here. It was acknowledged in the public meeting of the Park Board that we don't have that. It was as though the individual would come in or a group would come in and just simply move in, set up and play, and there'd be no responsibilities. I think that's oversimplifying it, but that's how I felt I was hearing it. And I pulled out the latest Summerfest event contract and the
Motorcycles.
Moto on Ice. I've got them here, and I've looked at them, and these people we require to do this, that, and the other thing, and they agree to it, and they fulfill their obligations. So you've got the farmers market here, we've got the Labor Day event, we've got Summerfest here. We have important and significant events on the property, but everybody understands what their responsibilities are as a consequence. We don't have that here. So I know it's an important objective and item for the Park Board. They're very passionate about this and seek to do it, for sure. But to be successful, probably needs a bit more structure, a bit more organization, and some understandings of the undertakings between them and the town. That's my recommendation, that there either be some type of a contract, or alternatively, at least maybe on this year basis only, a special event permit with staff working out the details with them, identifying what their responsibilities, the cost structures and all that are, et cetera. This is proposed as a summer series, 7 events over, what, 12 weeks, or?
I believe so.
Yeah, from June 11th to September 2nd.
So there's a significant use of our town grounds for this function and this series of performances. Maybe that's too much. Maybe we need to get this special event MO down and understood, so we don't have an issue. Just suggestion to you about that. But I don't recommend that we deviate from what has occurred and developed over time to this point about the use of this property. And on top of it, they use the property, and that deprives the property from being available for all our other citizens. So,
I know it was just one day, but what do we do with the Northwest Symphony Orchestra? Do you know?
Yeah,
Do we have them, have a contract with them?
we did. There was a contract with them. They insist on it, by the way, because it has some washout terms and things in it that kind of protect their commitment, if you will.
But that was via the chamber, wasn't it?
Yes. The contract was with the chamber, and the chamber negotiated with Northwest Indiana Symphony.
Somebody negotiated with us, right?
Right, and then when the conductors started bad-mouthing Cedar Lake, the chamber broke ties with them.
Gotta watch that bad mouthing, right, Bob? I agree.
There was some bad comments made on the stage. Charlie Caper was very upset with them.
If they had a contract.
They had to have a contract. There had to be an agreement undertaken.
So Chris, can you at least get these folks an example of a contract so they can have somebody hit the point?
Or Dave, are you saying they could do a special permit,
That's what I'm
special event
suggesting.
permit?
I'm suggesting a special event permit. It permits a bit more flexibility on a first year, try it out basis. I think they were here last year, weren't they?
It's just a couple days,
were 6
they were
events.
not as many, I think they did 1 or 2, maybe, I'm not sure.
Chris said six.
You kind of set a model
I didn't
for
think last year there was
for
that many, but there was.
the use.
Now, would they get a special event permit for each presentation, each showing?
I would suggest that they'll be identical.
Right,
So
Okay.
but just
except
get
for
one
the
for each
date.
state.
Each one for, okay.
But that's what I would recommend.
Okay.
And we have that criteria and that documentation here.
Was that,
Who should I have Dale speak with about this?
Somebody in Chris's office.
In Chris's office, I'll let him know to get ahold of you.
I'll reach out, yeah.
Reach out to him,
Yeah.
perfect, thank you.
Probably have Dale on the phone.
He's probably gonna call me after the meeting.
Yeah. That was you, I'm probably getting a text right now.
Yeah.
You won't get out of the driveway.
well, we think that, we can do a special permit, right? Don't you think, Colleen, we get a special
I
permit?
think we can.
Yeah.
I think we can work something out.
If that's the pleasure of the board, I think it's June 11th, their starting date or their tentative starting date is June 11th. I think that's far too much of a time constraint for us to be able to put together a useful contract to get in front of the board and have it vetted. I agree with Dave, that instead of a contract this year, a special events permit would
We'll
be
work on a
appropriate.
contract for next year.
Yes.
And they talked about that. I think they expect it, but, you know.
There was a
this is part of
conversation.
it.
Yeah, I wanna see them have it, I just, we have to make it work.
So do we need a motion, Mr. Chairman?
We need a motion for a special,
Do we want to defer or just?
Could you consider authorizing the town manager to execute a special event permit
we could do that.
upon negotiation or undertaking with the group?
Very good. I would like to make a motion on this item, which is on 2 pages here. Hold on a second. The approval of the Park and Rec's request to host the summer concert series at Lakeside Artists Guild, to get together with the town manager and creating a special event game permit.
And I'll second that, John.
Second by Colleen. Discussion?
Yeah, so we're not denying them, we're just trying to work with them.
We're not waiving the fees,
Just-
we're working with them to make it work.
Does that motion also include the waiver for the refreshments?
Yes. Right, John, I'm good with that, the waiver for them to.
Yeah. Yes, that is correct.
David, that was Jared, no problem.
Yeah, as written, I guess I didn't read the artist skills, allow attendees to bring their own refreshments would be added to that. As was in the past.
I agree with that.
Okay, motion by John, second by Colleen. Discussion, roll call?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Nick Recupero?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes?
Richard Sharp?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Consider Summerfest Committee's request for the town to waive $100 per night fee for the 2 nights of fireworks during the 2023 Summerfest.
I so move.
Motion by Mr. Carnahan. Second by
What was $100 a night fee for, Chris?
I believe they're fireworks permit, is that correct, Chief?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's 2 nights, so there'd be 2 permits.
Oh, I see.
I'll second that motion since it's for the fireworks and it's very minimal.
Second by Julie. Discussion?
I think it's noble. I just find that, it's a slippery slope that we start opening.
So
and
that's why I didn't waive for
things like
the
that.
other one.
Right.
Right.
So that's just my 2 cents.
Any other discussion?
I agree with John on that one. Slippery slope.
Roll call, Margaret?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Nick Recupero?
No.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Sheehan?
No.
John Foreman?
No.
Richard Sharp?
Yes.
4-3.
4-3.
4-3 approval. Consider Summerfest Committee's request to exchange the $1,000 nightly fee, $5,000 in total for a gold sponsorship.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Carnahan. Now, this is something has been done in the past, is that correct?
Yes.
That is my understanding.
And it's a sponsorship, it's not waiving of fees, correct?
Right.
Well, it's $1,000 a day. That was already charged.
It's a wash.
Essentially, a
You don't have barter system, you go good old barter system. That's what accountants call it when something like this happens and nothing changes hands, right? This is what the IRS likes to look for.
You're the CPA, my man.
I'm gonna have to consult my attorney on that.
I'll make electronic stuff work and program stuff. I'll stay away from that.
Let me know if you can find it.
So this nightly fee is what we charge Summerfest to use the grounds?
Yes.
5 days?
Yeah.
$1,000, so yeah.
And they put on their banner over the stage that it's sponsored by the town of Cedar Lake.
We're one of the gold sponsors, is that correct, Mary Jo? That's how that works, yeah. And that's what we've done that in the past, so it's,
Okay.
If I may, Mr. Chairman,
yes, sir.
so Summerfest is a non-for-profit, I totally get it. But then sometimes Summerfest will sponsor other non-for-profits and other events, and I just think that that's wrong. And I think some of the youth sports I was involved in early on, we never did that, and then I think I've seen where they've started doing that. It's wrong. People put money in for a certain cause. It should be used for that cause, not used for other causes that the committee of that nonprofit finds good. I think last year they did donate some money back to the town for something for the police department, right?
They have several times
But-
for us, actually. I think they bought laptops for us for the VIPs.
Yeah.
There was some electric stuff.
I mean, if we want to sponsor it, we should sponsor
Actually,
it,
they just cut us a
but not
check for,
the horse trading. That's my feeling, because we have rules and costs.
And they put, most of that electric out there, that electrical box
Yeah.
next to the Vips and Park Building cost $13,000. They paid to upgrade it, and it's used by other organizations. Yeah, so they do contribute back to the town.
Yeah, that's just my 2 cents, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Yeah, they're also paying $2,000 for the state permits for the fireworks as well.
Okay,
That's another expense, so.
yeah. Thank you, Chief. No, I'm a fan of Summerfest, all that good stuff, but yeah, it's just, we have our rules and our prices, we gotta stop.
So they just donated to the police department. We bought 5 bullet-resistant shields to carry in squad cars. We had an incident in town where an officer was basically standing behind a wall negotiating with a person that had a gun to his head and had no protection. So we wanted to correct that problem, and they wrote a check for, I think, $2,700 to help cover the rest of the cost of the shields for us. So we bought 5 of them. So they do donate the money back to us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chief.
I have a question.
Yes.
Maybe for Mr. Austin. These kind of requests, is this something that can be handled in the contract negotiations for these on a yearly?
In my opinion, yes, they should be.
So we have a
Pretty
contract.
comprehensive contract that's developed over time. I mean, probably everybody doesn't agree on every term per se, but it's developed over time and it's been workable.
So this could be worked into the contract?
That's what I think. When I saw it on this agenda, I wondered why, really.
And I think since it's been dealt like this on an individual basis for the last few years, maybe putting it in the contract next year and dealing with it today.
Understood. We have a motion on the table by Mr. Carnahan. Do we have a second? No second?
I'll second.
Second by Colleen. Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
No.
Nick Cupid?
No.
Ralph Miller?
No.
Colin Sheehan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
No.
Richard Sharp?
Yes. Motion does not carry. 3 to 4, 4 to 3, whatever you want to call it.
4 to 3.
Motion fails 3 to 4.
Motion fails 3 to 4.
And just to add to that, I don't exactly see John's point, but I think of all the overtime, all the in-kind donations by Public Works, Police Department, Fire Department, the overtime budget is being stretched, so I feel like the thousands of dollars in that every year that goes up is equivalent to an in-kind donation, and that's taxpayer money that, not everyone in Cedar Lake is gonna go to Summerfest, but the taxpayers are paying for all the additional labor, overtime, so that's kind of my reason for voting no. I can't speak for anyone else, but that is considered in-kind donation to me.
Thank you, Judy.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna sponsor it, we need to make that decision to sponsor it. Waiving the fee is not something that I don't wanna go down that road, I know.
And have other people ask to waive the fee
Yeah,
or
it's,
other charities.
I don't mind sponsoring some, but the way we're doing this, I just don't agree with it.
Yeah, if we want to sponsor, we should use a different fund, because in the past, we've tried to use tourism fund and things, and gave money, and then we kept it clean. Or put it in a contract or what have you, but
Put it in the contract.
Yes. And there was a third request for the tourism funds, but those have been dedicated to the Labor Day Festival.
yeah. And especially this year, of all years, with the fire department overtime, I mean, it's challenging. Chief's been doing everything Mr. Mauger has, I mean, it's incredible.
It's hard.
And the tents are available for the Labor Day Fest, but.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Number 9, disbursement request number 2 from 2022A, Fund number 323, in the amount of $127,497.98 for the police department project.
Let me find my space here real quick. Yes, so these are, there's 3 bills in this group, 3 pay requests in this. There's a K2M design for design fees of $50,000 approximately $50,000. K2M design fees of $61,000, and K2M design fees of $15,000, for the total of $127,497.98. As this project rolls along, very similar to your projects that are on your utility board, you will see monthly disbursements. As mentioned in prior meetings, these get vetted first by the BOT developer, GM Development. Then they go to Veritas for verification that isn't indeed an expense that they committed. Then it goes to our utility billing specialist / CPA, Sue Hayes, who then also reviews it. And after all those have been checked off by each of those individuals or groups, they then make it onto the agenda for your consideration.
And they probably review all this quicker than county reviews, what they review for 600 some odd thousand.
It's
Would that be correct or no?
It's probably accurate.
Chris, we have Sue on the Zoom if you or President think it's important for that.
Yes, I always think it's important to listen to what Sue has to say.
Okay, I'm here.
Thank you.
Yeah, what I do is I download those invoices when, one of the employees from Veritas lets us know. And then I compare them, to make sure that they have identified which project the cost should go to. And as you know, we had, funds locally that we needed to use up first, for these projects, which on the police, this will use 100% of the funds that we had. And, then we have a slight amount left for fire. They also, on, the invoices from, GM, they do give us an accounting of what's left in the various categories as far as design and any other miscellaneous, line items, so that we know where they're at in that portion of the uses of funds.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Sue.
Thanks.
We've heard from Sue, we've heard from Chris. Do we have a motion to approve? Disbursement request number 2.
I have one more question, Mr.
Yes.
President. So nobody here in this building goes through these invoices?
Clerk treasurer.
Clerk treasurer.
Clerk treasurer, and technically, Sue is one of our staff members.
Yes.
She's just not located in the building.
Okay, yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sorry, Nick, those do go, I prepare them, and then they go to Jennifer to review, and then they are processed onto your agenda.
Okay, thank you, Sue.
And this is the first BOT we've ever engaged in.
Okay.
This is, I think, a new thing in the state, isn't it, Chris?
It's a statute that's approximately 30 years old, but in the last 10 years, it started to really take off. I believe Hobart. There's a local municipality here in Lake County, I forget exactly, I believe it's Hobart, that is also using the same process to build a BOT to build a fire station. Hammond had done one through the BOT process using GM Development several years ago as well.
Maryville's working on one.
Maryville's currently working on one, so it's taking off now. And it was at the last AIM conference too, they had a seminar on the BOT process and how it's catching on in Indiana. So as you attend the AIM conferences, you'll probably start to hear more about these.
Right. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Or deny. I will make a motion to approve disbursement request number 2, 2022A, fund number 323, in the amount of $127,497.98.
Motion by Mr. Foreman,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Miller. Discussion? Roll call?
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Dick Stupido?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Schreiber?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Disbursement request number 1 from 2022 Construction Fund number 10011031163 in the amount of $15,132.12 for police department project.
So this is also a K2M design fee, and I believe Sue's on the line, but I believe this just closes out the locally held funds?
Yes, that's correct.
That's why it's broken up.
That's what that fund number refers to?
Yes.
Locally held funds?
Yeah, so that's the appropriation number in the town budget.
Okay.
Any additional questions for Sue, for Chris, for, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Motion by Colleen, second by John. Discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Nick Rafferty?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Number 11, disbursement request number 2 from the 2022B Fund number 324 in the amount of $236,705.28 for the fire department project.
So similar to the last two, this one is 3 design fees from K2M in the amounts of approximately $84,000, $102,000, and $50,000 for a total of $236,705.28.
And this is for the fire department.
This is, as always, the fire department.
Blah, blah,
big
blah,
budget
I
item.
figured that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's a bigger building, come on.
Any questions for Chris? Sue?
Nope. Essentially the same as the prior.
Fire Chief Wilken?
That's good.
I'll make a motion to approve, Mr. President.
I don't want to order artillery on my own.
Motion by Nick to approve,
I'll second his motion.
second by Mr. Foreman. Discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Nick Rafferty?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colleen Scheven?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Consider approving beautification of the Geese Beautification Gardens in 3 parks. Park of the Red Cedars, Town Complex, North Park, Chamber, and Bartlett Wahlberg, with added butterfly gardens to BW Park, received a favorable recommendation from the Park Board on May 4th, vote 4-0. Chris, did you wanted to do something with this?
Yes, I would like a slight tweak to the Park of the Red Cedars plan. I think the design immediately on the boardwalk is appropriate and good. My tweak would be with the no-mow fescue that they have on here, which is an awfully large swath of no-mow fescue. The North Park and Bartlett Wahlberg Park, I think, in my opinion, are good. That's up for you to decide, though. I'm not the decision maker. I would just like either, if you're going to approve all 3, that the contingency be placed in the Park of the Red Cedars, that we continue to review the no-mow fescue area, and potentially tie it into the master planning of the Park of the Red Cedars, which is set to start taking place this summer. I just don't want to, although no-mow fescue is simply just grass that is about 6 to 8 inches tall, that kind of just flops over and it deters the geese, but I don't know if that's necessarily the look we're going for. And I think especially when we're considering the overall concept plan of the site, I want to make sure we have this explicitly dialed into what we want, so that way we're not putting in no-mow fescue just to mow it down and put something else there later.
Right.
Is that the only park? This park is the only park, or this land?
There's 3 locations.
No mow fescue, I didn't see it on the others.
No, the North Park does not have no-mow fescue because in discussion with the architects and the park board, and additional staff, the geese problem over there, generally they're landing in the swamp on the other side of the park, and then they kind of cross over, and then they inhabit the lakeshore there. We have a shrubbery and fence line along that sidewalk with gates that would keep them out, so that does not have any no-mow fescue because it simply does not need it. That will stay turf grass. There was a larger gate on the, closer to the chamber side for mowing crews to be able to come in and out easily without destroying anything or creating any tracking. And the Bartlett-Wahlberg Park, no, the first draft did have no-mow fescue, but I don't see any on here. So it is only the Park of the Red Cedars right now.
Yeah, I like your suggestion, Chris. Thank you.
Yeah. As well, I had the architects, because it's the same architects that designed the preliminary band shell, place that in there so we can see what that looks like too, with, or conceptually with the landscaping there. I think, especially in conversation with Dave, I think the master planning of that site, the arrangement and location of the band shell, just needs to be tweaked or solidified and make sure that that's what we want, where we want it, and that way we can have a solid plan for this site that we can execute.
Yeah, I love it. I love your idea because, quite honestly, if you do have a bench shelf, like they're showing, people are going to be parking boats on the lake. People are going to be putting lawn chairs right in front. Now you got mosquitoes living in the 6-inch grass. It's like a golf course rough.
Yeah.
Or prairie grass in Illinois, they get credit for golf courses.
Yeah.
The last few years, we've been playing there since somebody sold the golf course. So.
We've heard about that.
Yeah.
So, and I'll also give a couple more notes on this. So specifically on this site, Park of the Red Cedars, the architects were given the marching orders that we want to keep everything under 3 foot in height. So we don't want to interrupt any views from the water to the lake, to the land, from the land to the water. Or any shots of the museum that could be taken from the lake. We don't want to interrupt those views. And the fencing that is contemplated on these sites around the shrubbery that's contemplated would be exactly what we have at Bartlett-Wahlberg Park. So it would be that nautical rope or some type of nautical fencing of that style. I know Tim and I have also discussed potentially looking at other options for that rope because it doesn't last very long. So we're just going to, I think we just need to continue to dial that in a bit. But I think conceptually, 90% we're there.
So where is that for, that fence with the rope?
It will be at all 3 locations. So it's already at Bartlett-Wahlberg Park. We'll just expand it in areas where we are adding additional shrubbery and creating a boundary. We do show on this plan an expansion or a creation of a boardwalk similar to what's on the other 2 parks. So that way you can easily walk the water over there, have somewhere where we can put benches or picnic tables and such. Just a little bit of hardscape, we don't want to go overboard. The North Park, it will be on both sides of the shrubbery.
State Senator Sulansky's Park.
Sorry, State Senator Sulansky Park.
And a safety, I see a safety railing here on these grounds?
Correct.
Is that the whole frontage of the property, basically, where the sidewalk is?
Which one are you looking at? Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Chris. Any additional questions for Chris? Do we have a motion to approve?
I'd like to make a motion to approve with the changes that Chris had
Based on
mentioned.
Chris's, okay.
So the no mow grass.
Yes. We still do have one more draft update within the contract that we have, so I'll work with a couple members of the park board and the architects to dial this in just a little bit more.
Okay.
So you're saying not to have that tall grass?
The no-mow fescue, or at least definitely not in that wide of a area. I think they don't show the dimensions of this here, but in the first draft it showed about a 60-foot wide swath of no-mow fescue, and I think with an event park as this is, that is significant.
Yeah, and with a safety rail and the little buffer on the other side of the sidewalk that has ornamental grass and the blooming flowers, what have you.
Yeah.
It serves its purpose right there.
And since this is a conceptual design, this will be something that's implemented over time. The safety rail will probably be a little more expensive than we have in the budget here, so it's something that we're working towards. So this is just similar to a master plan of a site. You phase it in as money allows, as grants come in, et cetera.
Good job.
Thank you, Chris. Motion by Colleen. Do we have a second?
I'll second it, okay, Julie.
Second by Julie. Discussion?
We're not gonna put the no mow grass in,
Correct,
correct?
that's my understanding, yes.
Correct.
Bob, yeah.
Can we leave out the bees too?
The bees and the no-mo.
The bees. I don't know if we can outlaw the bees. Dave can maybe draft an ordinance for us.
Yeah, no. It's okay.
No ordinance for bees?
No.
Okay. Okay, any additional discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
Yes.
Julie Rivera? Yes. Nick Raputo?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colin Sheehan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Consider approving the revised 2023 meeting schedule.
So this is the revised meeting schedule. There should only be one change from the previous changes that were made, so we're condensing the calendar a bit to allow for staff and more appropriately Dave and myself to be at the same meetings at the same time. So we're moving the storm board to be on the first Thursday of the month, which would be immediately following or just after the park board meetings. The park board is moving their start time to 5:30, and the storm board will meet at 7. So that gives the park board an hour and a half to conduct business, and then the storm board immediately thereafter.
And I asked if that could be changed for the storm board not to meet on the first Thursday, if they could meet on, say, the third or fourth Thursday, and that wasn't evidently approved. I cannot make the first Thursday. I have a conflict.
Okay. Very good.
We'll have a quorum.
Yep.
Or they'll will.
No, I'm a liaison.
Oh, okay.
And none of those other Thursdays were available for you, Dave?
My schedule has conflict in it too, Bob. I checked. Chris asked me to.
This was, and this would be to take effect in June. I forgot that caveat.
Okay.
This was at least month and a half long balancing act of trying to get all the boards, everyone's calendars aligned. So this was the best we can come up with at this time.
Very good. Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the revised 2023?
Motion to approve 2023 meeting schedule.
Motion by John,
I'll second.
second by Colleen. Discussion? Roll call.
Robert Carnahan?
No.
Julie Rivera?
Yes.
Nick Raputo?
Yes.
Ralph Miller?
Yes.
Colin Sheehan?
Yes.
John Foreman?
Yes.
Richard Sharp?
Yes. Motion carries 6-1. Move to reports. Town council, Mr. Carnahan.
The Kids Fishing Derby, sponsored by the Chamber, will be the first Saturday in June from 8 to noon. And, they give away, to the first 100 kids, free cane poles, and there will be different businesses providing, refreshments for the kids.
I think it was in here too.
And that's where they having it, Bob? At the chamber itself. Okay. Thank you. Anything else, Bob?
No.
Okay, thank you. Any other town council reports?
What was the latest, did anybody check with Jennifer on finding funding for that used ambulance at Tri Creek? Or West Creek, or was it Tri Creek, Todd? What was have you heard anything, Rick?
I think there was, in fact, there was a meeting yesterday with Council Affairs and
Board of Safety.
Board of Safety.
What came about?
At that time, I guess one of the liaisons could potentially mention it, but I think that the desire is at this time to look at a new ambulance. Funding right now is not in the budget. It has to be contemplated in the budgeting process with Corby.
Can I ask a question on that funding? There's talk, and I know this because I worked, in a public works setting, equipment's out 2 years or whatever, 18 months, 3 years.
Mhm.
How does the funding work when you don't take, possession of that piece of equipment until that time?
So payments are due upon delivery,
Upon delivery.
generally, is how they're written. So the funding would either have to be, if it's going to be programmed into the physical budget itself, it would have to be programmed into the year that you expect to take delivery, so it would be something that your prior budget sessions would have to contemplate that and allocate funds within the budget towards that, or if it's bonded out or in some fashion, the bond would be either written in a way or pooled slightly before expectation of delivery. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any additional town council? Town attorney?
No report.
No report. Clerk treasurer?
No report?
No report. Town manager?
I'm gonna do that for the first time, no report.
No report. Wow. Director of operations? No report. Oh,
I have one thing I just wanted, I was gonna mention at the utility board, but I forgot, but, we had an incident in, between Summer Winds and Beacon West this last week that, it got bypassed all of the reviews and engineers and everybody that, water main was underneath a box culvert, entering Summer Winds, and it was only 17 inches below the box culvert, so Ryan and Brandon, both of the water department, caught it and found it and got, developers out there, and today they loaded it down for proper burial. It's a great catch on their part, you know,
Awesome.
so just showing that they care what's going in, and, you know, I mean, everybody else, we all missed it, it was something that could have been detrimental down the line if that had frozen and it was underneath a big box culvert in a brand new road in the subdivision. It was
Oh, good catch.
good to see, so I just wanted to give them recognition for that, because it was.
thank you. Yes,
Really good.
absolutely.
It's also gonna be included in our new subdivision control standards
Yeah.
for that
Yeah.
specific instance.
Yeah,
Box culvert.
yeah, so it was a good thing though, that they were paying that,
Paying
you know,
attention,
good
yeah.
attention and, you know, it was
To
good.
know what it's supposed to be. Very good. Thanks.
Just
Thanks,
something to
Tim.
recognize them for, so.
Yeah.
I have a question for
Yes.
Tim. When Tom Stevens was here, we were trying to get a new street sweeper. I understand the street sweeper we have isn't working properly.
It is not. The unfortunate part is the street sweeper's $260,000, so, we get it out, something else breaks, it's even more than that now, probably.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, we have it in our dream, you know, our wish list, our hope to get.
But we're not taking care of the roads, and we're allowing stuff to get in our stormwater, and
Right.
it's something that we need to work on.
Yeah, we're working on it. I mean, and again, that thing spends way more time being worked on than it does being used. But we even looked into purchasing some type of a used something that would be an upgrade to what we have, and it's just.
I know they had that parade, and that candy was all over the place on the roads, and we've got stone and debris on, by.
We were out there, I think the last time it broke was picking up the candy from the parade.
Can we rent one from another town, Tim? Twice a year or something, hit the main arteries? Would somebody rent it?
It's not a twice a year thing, and everybody that has them, it's not I mean, you can hire out street sweeping from, you know, there is companies that do street sweeping, but it's expense that we don't allow for, and we don't have any budgeted dollars for it.
They
so.
do it every day in other communities. I mean, Crown Point, 5 o'clock in the morning, they're doing the square every morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame we're getting all these new roads and we got debris filling in the manholes, which leads to, you know, for sure put one in the budget for next year.
We've had it in there for the last 5 years, so.
Chief, ambulance too.
We're trying.
Gotta get it, 'cause like Nick said, it's a year and a half out. Sooner the better.
36 months out.
Is it really?
2 years.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, by the time you spec the whole thing out,
Yeah.
you're talking almost a 3 years. So
Okay.
I'd like to be in those meetings if that's possible.
all things for council affairs to consider as we start the budget season for this year.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Police Department, Chief Fisher?
Council, you got our monthly report. See, we took 1,231 calls for the month of April, averaging just over 42 calls per day. We had 139 state violations or traffic stops with citations, 491 written warnings, for a total of 818 tickets for the year and 2,723 warnings for the year. We had a total of 29 arrests, 46 charges, 36 misdemeanors, 8 felonies and 2 warrants, for a total of 115 arrests and 192 charges for the year. You'll also see a new thing we're doing there is a traffic stop analysis, just as to understand how many traffic stops we are making every month. They've drastically increased, but that is due to our schedule change. We went to a 12-hour schedule, or 12-hour schedule this year, and the officers are enjoying it very much so. So
That's working out well, Chief?
very much so.
Okay, good. Thank you, Chief. Chief Wilkening, Fire Department?
Yeah, 155 calls for the month. We're already up to 604 calls for the year. 80% medical, 20% fire calls, again. The only other thing I have is a question about the decision on the ambulance. With all due respect, I just was wondering why I wouldn't be involved in a meeting like that with the Board of Safety and the Council Affairs Commission when we talked about it. I don't understand.
I'm not sure why we weren't there. We didn't, the Council Affairs, I don't believe, called the meeting.
It's not my understanding either. Yeah. Correct. And it's the purview of those that call the meeting to who they include.
So a decision was made to go for a new ambulance then? Are we gonna spec out?
That was certain.
I mean, that would be the process that would this is very confusing for me. I thought it was supposed to be part of it, the process of buying fire and ambulance equipment. I knew nothing about a meeting about it, so. That's the end of my report, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. RIP Communications, Building Department?
We've received a grand total of 3 new construction permits for residential development in April. So we are at a grand total of 28 for the year-to-date up to the end of April. And then for other construction permits, or other permits, we've received 54 in April for a grand total of 165 for the year. Onto the Christopher Burke report. Most of those projects, most of the report is generally projects ongoing. Sediment dewatering facility, coordination with our MS4, the NERC projects, getting those prepared, and what was the other one? Our road projects, getting those ready. So kind of getting into the minutia of the summer months where we're going to be just generally preparing our projects either for bid or design, and then overseeing construction.
Would you list the road project?
I believe I did that at the last meeting. I don't have that in front of me right now. Sorry. So I just have to direct anyone who's interested to the last meeting minutes where it was announced there. And then Veritas, very similar, working on getting prepped for some public listening sessions for the master planning of this site, public safety buildings, and getting ready or waiting for the park superintendent to be prepped so we can start doing some parks work. And that's those 3.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
We move to public comment. Public comment?
I want to thank you guys for Summerfest. I did send an email to you guys about electricity, and John, you're the only one that responded. So I just wanted you to have an understanding that that pole that they put all the outlets on, we paid that bill. That's a Summerfest pole. So, farmer's market uses it, we don't have a problem with that, as long as it doesn't go and exceed the basic monthly fee. If it goes over, then we would like some direction from you on how to obtain our money back, okay? And the reason we pay for that, that's for the carnival and all that. And that pole's been there for, I don't know, 20 years.
Yeah.
So I just wanted you to have an understanding, and then there's a lock on it, and of course, we're gonna need a key for it, because we're gonna have to use it for Summerfest. John, I wanted to share with you that our bylaws are filed with the state of Indiana as a not-for-profit.
Right.
And in our bylaws, we are allowed to donate to organizations and things who participate in Summerfest. So like the fire department, the police department, we've donated to Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts,
Yes.
Boys and Girls Club. Anyone who's done time here for us,
Right.
we've donated money back. We've never given like money to, we've never sponsored baseball teams or softball teams because they're not here.
I see.
So, but we do follow those bylaws, and I agree with you that when you raise money, and I'm telling you, Mr. Donor,
Yeah.
that I'm gonna use it for Summerfest, and I don't, I agree with you, that's wrong. But it's
Yeah.
in our bylaws that anyone who
Yeah,
participates
it
in
just seems odd to
Summerfest.
me.
Yeah, so that's what we do. And we've been doing it for, our bylaws have been filed, they had to be refiled, so they're not 42 years old, I believe they're 22 years old, because we had to refile them. And I think that was it, all right? I thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you, Mary Jo. Any other public comment? Public comment?
Cheryl Parker, 7227 West 136th Court. This is in reference to the plans that you referred to at the parks and stuff. I just wondered when those would be available, if and when they would be available for the public to see, or is this all part of that comprehensive plan that you said is coming up? There will be public meetings for that?
Gonna need clarification.
This is item 12.
Butterfly Gardens.
Oh, the butterfly.
Yeah, yeah.
We can get you a printout.
Yeah.
Does anyone have a paper copy they can give her?
It's not a packet online?
Because it came out late, I don't believe we provided
The
enough.
agenda wasn't in,
Yeah.
so, the agenda wasn't published, yeah.
If you put in a records request, we can
Fair
provide
enough.
that to you.
Okay.
And just know they're only in draft.
Okay. And one last question, I just wondered why, President Niemeyer is, adjourning the meetings
I
in
saw that too.
2023?
I saw that too.
Unless he's still here.
No, it was,
Like I
Commissioner's
said,
there.
it was on the March 7th,
it's on all of the 2023, so I think it's just the, word processing format, it just got
I
carried
didn't see them
forward.
on every one of them, but
Yep.
I did notice that.
And I only know that because I've been reading through all the minutes.
Me too.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
We're gonna, that's Jennifer.
These two places at once.
Public comment? Public comment? Public comment is closed. This meeting's adjourned. Next meeting Tuesday, June 6th, 2023. Thank you, everybody.